There are two kinds of people in this world. Either you're doing things you know you shouldn't, or you're not doing things you know you should. Guess what? We're both. Hi, I'm Marcy Barker, life and business coach, aka your loving kick in the pants. This podcast is here to help you become accountable with aligned action and become boss-minded while growing a business without sacrificing what matters most. Let's dive in. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. I am really excited about this topic because I get to brag about my clients. And I'm doing this in prep of the next cohort for the Accountability Accelerator. So if you're listening to this podcast, it maybe is because I sent it to you because you're thinking about getting your loving kick in the pants. And I want to give you a little bit of a preview of what you could expect. So we're going to dive right into this. The Accountability Accelerator is an 8-week program where I help you achieve one massive goal. And I will just spoil it. Some people reach their goal in like 2.5, 3 weeks. But I'm going to promise to help you with one big goal. And then we're going to knock out a ton of little things that support that goal, because I usually tell my clients, you're one of two things. It's either you know what you need to do and you're standing in your way, or you're just not sure how to do the thing that you want to do. The Accountability Accelerator is a great way for you to dive in to what you want to achieve. But I'm also going to help you create your own personal code for accountability. So what I want to do before I give you all the details about the program is I want to read to you the personal code for accountability that one of my clients created when she did this program. I'm not going to tell you a lot about what she does because all of my clients are very different. This is not for one specific niche or industry. This is for women who are like, I'm ready to make a difference in my life and I have to figure out this goal because it will not stop nagging me. I have to figure this thing out, okay? So we know the steps of the accountability code. I will refresh them for you. The steps are reflection, humility, planning, implementing, commitment, and feedback. Those are the steps of the accountability code that make follow through easy and peaceful. But guess what? Not everybody is accountable the same way because we're all different. We want different things. We function differently. We got a lot of different history. We have a lot of different paths that we're on. So the accountability code is going to help you recognize your own resistance and your own goals and the way that you naturally will take action. So with the personal code for accountability, let me read it to you and then I'll give you more details about how this came to be. For reflection, this client said, my reflection is that I need to journal every evening on how the day went and how I can improve for the following day, and to pause and take time in silence to slow myself down before taking action. That is her personal code for reflection. The second step is humility. She wrote, I give myself grace, prioritize self-care, and release what doesn't serve me. I also need to set realistic expectations for my goals. I love that one. All right. The next step of the accountability code and her personal code for planning is, I have identified the obstacles that keep me from achieving my goals that matter and how I may shift them for change. So this is awesome. Planning is a detailed proposal for achieving success. So she's identifying things that actually stop her from reaching the goals that she sets. The next step of the accountability code is implementing, and this is putting into use your desired skills or values. Her personal code says, I need to have patience and accept that things are going to happen and not allow it to shake my mindset, even if the goal may shift. That's a big one. I really love that one. The next step and her personal code for commitment is, I consistently apply effort towards my goals, even when challenges and obstacles head my way. Actively learn new skills and make adjustments to my goals as needed. Perfect. The very last step of the accountability code is feedback, and her personal code is, I actively seek feedback, but I choose what is helpful and in alignment. I use that feedback to foster growth and wait to act. Okay, I just read you her personal code for accountability. What's really beautiful about this is I heard some things that really resonate with me, and I'm sure you did too. The cool thing about creating a personal code for accountability is that every single step of the process resonates with you. And you're probably like, Marcy, I don't really like planning. I don't want to plan. Or you might be the opposite and you're like, I love planning, but I never actually follow through with my plan. don't worry, in the Accountability Accelerator, before we even set our personal code for accountability, what we do is an accountability assessment. This is where you answer some questions or you read some statements and decide if they are true for you or not. My favorite part about the assessment is that we actually track the percentage of how accountable you are. So this particular client, her score before we started the program was 27 points. Okay. I want to say the score total is 49. That's the possible score is 49. So before we started the program, she scored herself 27 based on the statements. And by the end of the program, she was at 38 points. What's really cool about seeing the difference going from 27 points to 38 points is that when we went through the assessment, she could see the parts that she was weak with or which steps of the code she needed improvement on. And then throughout the program, we worked on strengthening those areas, and then she was able to improve. So the percentage of increase for her following through went up by 44%. So this is really an amazing tool if you want to increase your confidence in yourself, if you want to set better goals, if you want to be more aware of what might hold you back, or if you want to make better choices in your life and in your business. So in the Accountability Accelerator, we do talk about big goals that we want, but we also make sure that after this program is over and you've reached some goals, that you still have the process on how to follow through. Now, another thing that I want to share about the Accountability Accelerator is that one of the biggest reasons that people do not take action is that they rely on motivation instead of structure. And we actually talked about that in last week's podcast. And the Accountability Accelerator is that structure for 8 whole weeks that helps you recognize what makes you more successful. So every single week in the Accelerator, there are group calls. So every single week we get on a call and we talk about the step of the accountability code so that you recognize what that looks like for you. And then we do a verbal report of accountability, okay? So in the Accountability Accelerator, we have this massive spreadsheet where everybody tracks their accountability in an overview so that we create the personal code for accountability over 8 weeks, but every single person has their own spreadsheet to track their commitment items. So let me tell you a little bit about this client's progress. And again, I'm not going to tell you what she does because I don't want you to think that you have to be the same as her in order to find success in the accelerator. But I do want you to pretend that this is you. And you can look at it and say, oh yeah, I could probably use a loving kick in the pants to get some of these things done. Well, what I have in front of me is her spreadsheet. So every single week when she got on the call, she would say, here's what I'm working on this week. And keep in mind, as we follow the accountability code, we put together the personal code for accountability in every single week. So week 1, we're doing an overview of the program. Week 2, we talk about reflection. You do a little bit of homework in the book and my workbook. And then when we come together for the group call, you talk about your commitment items and you talk about what your personal code for accountability is with that step. So in the very first week, this client, one of her commitment items was to DM engaged followers personally. So when she thinks about reflection, let's go back to her overview. If her personal code for reflection is to journal every night and think about how she can improve for the day, her commitment items were like, I actually need to talk to the people who want to talk to me. And when you're growing a business and you are just focusing on, let me go talk to new people, let me go find new customers, let me go see who I can attract today. When this client took a step back and thought about her day, this revealed to her like, oh, I actually need to talk to people who are already engaged. That would be a really good thing for me and my business. So on the spreadsheet, all she does is fill out what she's going to do over the course of the week until we meet again. And it all has to do with reflection. So what's really awesome about this is that I teach the accountability code all the time, but still when people hear the word accountability, they think it means like following through no matter what the cost, or like I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it, even though like it's not that fun for you, it's not that aligned, or you maybe set a goal out of pride or because somebody else wanted you to do it. We let those things go and we really get down to the nitty-gritty of why you want to do something and why you might be feeling like a failure if you're not doing it. Hey my beautiful people. If you're loving these episodes, you'll want the full experience. I've bundled both of my books, The Accountability Code and Becoming Boss-Minded, into one powerful package. You'll get instant access to the audiobooks and ebooks so you can learn and grow anytime, anywhere. Head to bossminded.com and grab the book bundle now. It's the perfect way to stay inspired between episodes. All right, let's dive back in. So, another commitment item that she had was when we moved into humility. And let me remind you what her code was for humility. It was, I give myself grace and prioritize self-care and release what doesn't serve me. I also need to set realistic expectations for my goals. So when we look at her commitment item spreadsheet, it's really cool because she put in humility that she wants to create a 5-hour-a-week strategy. So for her, when she's talking about giving herself grace throughout the week, she has recognized that if she had a more solid plan, she'd be able to feel good about her progress and just, instead of feeling like I have no plan and I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Like, it's easy to get down on yourself when you expect everything from yourself because you haven't really defined what you need to do. So in the Accountability Accelerator, there's going to be a lot of different aspects that you learn, but they all come together so that you can really define how you follow through and you can set appropriate goals for yourself. So in the Accelerator, we do our personal code for accountability. We also do our commitment item spreadsheet. We have our group calls. You have the book. You also get the workbook. You guys have seen me talk about the workbook before. So this is the book on steroids with lots of different places for you to take action on your goals. And there's a little bit of homework in the Accelerator because if you need to go deeper with a step, then I want to help you do that. But all the things that I ask you to do, they are all secondary to you reaching your own goal, okay? We also have the accountability assessment, so you know where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. Now, another thing that we do in the Accountability Accelerator is called the commitment declaration. So this is at the beginning of the program where I ask you and you share with everybody, what's the reason you signed up for this program? What is the big thing that you want to accomplish in the next 8 weeks or less? And here are some goals that my clients came up with. So again, I don't want you to feel like you have to be exactly like these people, but I do want you to put yourself in their shoes and give your goals more credit. Like, your goals are doable, and the Accountability Accelerator can be that structure and that container for you to really reach them. So one of my clients said that they wanted to map out their 2025 email sequence, the content, and grow their email subscribers by more than 600. Another client said they want to grow their business audience through making sales at vendor events, establishing social media habits, and creating a 5-day challenge. That client did so good with that. Another one said their goal is to put together their proposal packages and portfolio and be able to clearly articulate my value and ability with confidence. Ooh, we could do a whole podcast on that person too, because they did a really good job. The last one that I will share is another client said that they wanted to have a coaching offer with a clear marketing strategy that attracts and enrolls 10 clients. So keep in mind that with the Accountability Accelerator, like, you can start as big as you want, and you can also look at this and say, okay, by the time the Accelerator is over, the end of March, what do I want to have accomplished? So the Accountability Accelerator, again, is going to be that container where we get to declare what your goal is. We get to assess your accountability. We get to create your own personal code for accountability. There's group calls so that you're checking in. There's your commitment item spreadsheet so I can be your loving kick in the pants to what you're working on. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the bonus retreat. And I call it a bonus because we haven't done a retreat with every single program, but this time we are. There's 2 retreats. There's one in Utah and there's one in South Carolina in the month of April. So if you're listening to this podcast before it's happened, then ask me if there's spots at the retreat. But what's really awesome about the retreats is I've done them 2 different ways before. I've done them where we do a kickoff retreat and everybody meets, and then we do the 8 weeks. And we also have done it where we do the 8 weeks and then we do a celebration retreat. And they're both amazing. They're both so much fun. But this time we're doing a celebration retreat. So that is going to give you a little bit of an extra boost to reach your goals before we come together and celebrate. But I do want you to ultimately know the accelerator is a place for you to really develop structure that's going to stick with you long after 8 weeks. When I ran this program, times 1 through 7, we're on cohort number 8. What I learned from those previous groups was that people said, this is something I learned that has stuck with me forever. And I use the accountability code over and over again, which I absolutely love, because when I first started in the coaching industry, I had a really hard time with people learning from me and then moving on. And then I hired my own coach, and she taught me that that's actually a really beautiful thing, that people should not need you forever. And when I learned that and I heard from my clients about, I was able to teach them something that stuck with them forever, that was just a beautiful thing to know. And that's the biggest reason why I want you to do the accelerator, is because not only are you going to get a loving kick in the pants for 8 weeks to hit your goal now, but this is also going to be a process that changes the way that you show up in business. It's going to change the way that you show up for yourself, and it's going to change the way that you show up for everybody you come in contact with, because we all know what it feels like to be in contact with somebody who's not accountable, and they say things that they don't do, and they have big dreams, but every time you look at them, they're sitting on the couch, same position, not doing anything. The accountability code is going to really help you execute with strategy, and most importantly, make aligned actions that feel really good to who you are and what you're trying to build. So I will put the information to the accelerator in the show notes, but also you can go to marcybarker.com and click on coaching. It'll be there. But we have limited spots left at the retreat, but the whole accountability accelerator, it's done online. So you'll get, access to the online program as well. That's another piece that's included. But again, primary focus is your 8-week goal and what that is. And then the personal code for accountability is like that ticket where you're going to just feel like you can conquer the world, because you understand yourself so deeply that you know what gets you to take action, and you know what could hold you back from reaching your goals. So let me know if you guys have questions, but really I want you to consider how long you've been sitting on your goals. I want you to think about those things that are nagging you that you still have not taken action on, or you have really big dreams and you're just not sure how to execute on them. The Accountability Accelerator is going to be a really good opportunity for you. And I only do this program twice a year. So if you're like, maybe not now, maybe in 6 months, please do not put it off, because I think you will find a lot of success as soon as you jump in and invest in yourself, and you're surrounded by other women who are ready to do the same thing. I promise you it'll be a really amazing opportunity for you, but also it's going to change the way you feel about yourself and the way that you show up for yourself in your business, and that is absolutely priceless. So that's it. Stay tuned for next week. I'm going to share another piece of information about the Accountability Accelerator. We are starting on February 1st. So if you're interested, you can book a call with me at marcybarker.com, and we can see if the Accountability Accelerator is right for you at this time. But ultimately, you're listening to this podcast, you're loving kicking the pants because you desire taking action, and I want to help you be efficient with that. And I want you to be able to feel really good about how you function and know yourself really well, that when you reach your goals and you hit your goals and you're planning your goals, like, it all feels really, really good. So I'll see you next week for another episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. Thanks for tuning in, friend. If this episode gave you value, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone in your circle who's ready to wake up, show up, and grow their business without sacrificing what matters most. When you do, you're not just helping them, you're building your network of like-minded leaders. And I'll say this plainly, leaving a kind review matters more than you know. It helps more people find the show, and it keeps the momentum going. So pause for a moment and please drop that review. Lastly, if there's a topic you want me to cover, I want to hear from you. Reach out, because this podcast is for you and I'm here to serve. Until next time, stay boss-minded.